UK politics has become decidedly anti-immigration. No one is pointing out one very obvious point. We need immigration. Because there's a big problem if we restrict immigration into the UK. Like many developed nations, the UK is facing the pressing issue of an ageing population, and this demographic shift poses significant economic challenges. This includes increased pressure on public services and a shrinking workforce, which has a downward impact on taxes to finance public services for the ageing population. To offset these effects, immigration is not only beneficial, but it's essential. The Office for National Statistics reports that as of mid-2022, the median age of the UK population was 40.7 years, up from 39.6 years a decade earlier. The proportion of people aged 65 and over has risen from 16.5% in 2011 to 18.8% in 2022. That's just in 10 years. And this is a period of increasing immigration. The population has been increasing, which has limited the increase in this proportion. It would have been higher than 18.8% without the increase in immigration. The UK has needed increased immigration. So those that are anti-immigration point out that immigration is causing the population to increase and that this is the source of all the country's problems. Indeed, it is true that the UK population has gone up from 63.3 million to 67.6 million. However, mostly the increase in immigration is people of working age. So this has actually somewhat offset the increase in proportion of over 65s. The increase in immigration has actually been helpful. The ONS also forecasts long into the future. Here are the current trends projected into the next 100 years. The grey line shows the continuing increase in proportion of the population of pension age. This is mainly caused by people living longer, but it's also caused by a decrease in the UK birth rate. This has gone down from 729,000 a year to 620,000 over the past 10 years. So in the projections, we see the declining proportion of children in the UK. In other words, we have a growing number of pensioners with less young people to pay for them. So we're going to see big increases in the so-called dependency ratio, the number of retired people that need to be supported by each worker. Currently, each 1,000 people of working age support 292 people of pension age. The ONS projects that this will increase to 361 in 2050. This shift will place immense pressure on pension systems and health services, which are already strained to breaking point. The NHS, for example, faces massively increasing demand as older people typically require more medical care. None of our politicians are talking about this really critical issue. Unfortunately, we have politicians that focus on short-term re-election rather than really taking responsibility for what's going to happen for future generations. It's exactly the same with what's happening in climate change policies. Live today as if there isn't a problem and leave it for someone else to deal with in the future. Just plain irresponsible politics. Immigration can alleviate these pressures by replenishing the workforce and contributing to economic growth. Immigrants, particularly younger and skilled workers, can help maintain the balance between the working and dependent populations. By the way, we can't cure the ageing population problem by immigration. This chart shows ONS projections based on different immigration scenarios. The blue dotted line shows what would happen with zero immigration. The green dotted line is the high immigration scenario. Even with high immigration, the dependency ratio is going to increase significantly. Although immigrants don't completely solve the ageing population problem that we have in the UK, they do help to counteract this critical changing age structure. Immigration is therefore crucial for the UK's economic stability and growth amid this ageing population, rather than all the anti-immigration rhetoric that we have at the moment. We should have policies that facilitate the integration and retention of immigrants. So it's just outright irresponsible for the politicians to be stoking up anti-immigration feelings just because it perhaps makes them more popular in the polls. Immigration is vital in ensuring that the UK can meet the challenges of this evolving demographic landscape, not least in keeping our NHS and care homes sufficiently staffed. We need politicians to explain to us why we must embrace continued immigration, rather than this populist, lowest common denominator blaming of immigrants for the country's problems. Some of the politicians are saying that the country can't afford to let in more immigrants, that they're putting too much strain on the UK's public services, that that's the reason why you can't see your GP or an NHS dentist. But this is just rubbish. You can't see your GP or a dentist because of austerity, the gross underfunding of public services over many years. The truth is that we can't afford not to continue shoring up the economy through immigration. I hope you found this information useful. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.